night in a cozy little bedroom at the end of Willow Lane. A toy robot sat proudly on the highest shelf. His name was Robby. Robby had bright red paint, shiny silver arms, and flashing blue eyes that sparkled whenever sunlight touched them. On his back was a little wind-up key, though it had been a long time since anyone turned it. Robby belonged to Sophie, a cheerful 8-year-old girl who loved her toys more than anything. But lately, Sophie had been busy with school projects, piano lessons, and playing outside with her friends. Robby often watched her from his shelf, wishing he could join in the fun. What Sophie didn't know was that Robby had a very big secret. At exactly midnight, when the whole house was still and quiet, Robby could come to life. That night, the moon was full, and silver light spilled into Sophie's room. The clock on her bedside table ticked quietly, and then ding, ding. The hands pointed to 12 o'clock. Robby's blue eyes flickered on, his arms twitched, his legs stretched, and with a soft click he hopped down from the shelf. "Ah, freedom," Robby whispered, stretching his stiff joints. He marched around the room, exploring. Every midnight felt like an adventure. Sometimes he would ride in Sophie's dollhouse car. Sometimes he would push her toy trains along the track. Tonight, however, something felt different. As Robby was admiring Sophie's bookshelf, he heard a faint sniffle. "Hello?" Robby whispered. "Tust, down here," a voice whispered back. Robby bent down and peered under the bed. There, sitting in the shadows, was Fluffy, Sophie's well-loved teddy bear. Fluffy's brown fur was a little worn, and one of his ears flopped sideways, but he had the warmest button eyes you could imagine. "Fluffy, what are you doing under there?" Robby asked. Fluffy shuffled closer. "Oh, Robby, I'm so glad you woke up. Something terrible has happened. One of Sophie's puzzle pieces rolled under here earlier today, and I can't reach it. Without it, she'll never finish her favorite puzzle of the Enchanted Castle." Robby gasped. "We can't let that happen. We'll find it." Robby crawled under the bed beside Fluffy. Dust bunnies floated in the air, and the wooden floor creaked softly beneath their tiny toy feet. "Look over there," Fluffy said, pointing with his fuzzy paw. They found a crayon, a marble, and even a missing pink sock. But the puzzle piece was nowhere in sight, and Robby's eyes caught something shiny near the wall. "There it is," he exclaimed. They hurried toward it, but before Robby could grab it, Scurry, a tiny brown mouse, darted out, snatched the puzzle piece in its little paws, and held it close. "Hey, that belongs to Sophie," Robby said, stepping forward. The mouse twitched its whiskers nervously. "I wasn't stealing. I thought it would make the perfect decoration for my nest. It's such a pretty blue." Robby sighed. "It's very pretty, but it's important to Sophie. She's been working on that puzzle for days." The mouse's ears drooped. "Oh, didn't know, but my nest is very plain. Wanted something special." Fluffy thought for a moment, then he gently pulled a small tuft of fluff from his own paw. "Here," he said kindly. "This is warm and soft. You can use it in your nest. It's not shiny, but it's very cozy." The mouse's eyes brightened. "Really? That's so kind." The mouse placed the puzzle piece into Robby's hands. "Thank you. I hope Sophie finishes her puzzle." Then it scurried away with the fluffy gift, vanishing into a little hole in the wall. Robby and Fluffy crawled back into the open, holding the puzzle piece proudly. But just as they were about to place it on Sophie's puzzle board, a sudden gust of wind blew through the open window. The piece flew from Robby's hand. "Oh no," Fluffy cried. It landed by Sophie's toy box and slid right inside. The toy box lid was closed tight. Robby frowned. "How are we going to get it now?" The toy box was big and heavy, painted sky blue with little stars on it. Robby tugged at the lid, but it wouldn't budge. "Let me try," Fluffy said, but his soft paws slipped right off. "We need help," Robby decided. They went to Sophie's dollhouse, where Lila the doll was arranging tiny plates and cups for a pretend tea party. "Lila, we need your help," Robby explained. "A puzzle piece is stuck inside the toy box, and we can't get it open." Lila tapped her chin. "I have just the thing." She picked up a miniature plastic broom. "We can use this to push the lid up." Lila. The three toys marched to the toy box. Lila slid the broom handle under the lid while Robby and Fluffy pushed with all their might. On 3, Robby called. 1, 2, 3. With a squeak and a creak, the lid popped open. Robby dove inside and rummaged around. He passed Fluffy a plastic dinosaur, a jump rope, and a toy car before finally pulling out the puzzle piece. They all cheered quietly so they wouldn't wake Sophie. Robby carefully placed the missing piece into the enchanted castle puzzle. It fit perfectly. Fluffy sighed happily. Sophie's going to be so happy when she sees this in the morning. Robby smiled. That's what friends are for. Lila gave them each a tiny curtsy. Well done, heroes. The clock showed 4 minutes to 1. Robby knew he had to get back to his shelf before the magic faded. Fluffy curled back into his spot on Sophie's bed, looking peaceful. Lila went back to her dollhouse, humming to herself. Robby climbed up his shelf, turned to look at the room, and felt proud. The first golden rays of morning sunlight spilled into the room. Sophie yawned, stretched, and glanced at her puzzle board. Her eyes widened. The missing piece, she gasped. She looked around the room, puzzled. How? But she didn't think too hard about it. She quickly snapped the piece into place and admired her finished enchanted castle. This is the best way to start the day, Sophie said with a big smile. She patted Fluffy on the head and gave Robby a quick glance. Thanks, buddy, she said softly, though she didn't know just how much Robby had done. On his shelf, Robby sat perfectly still, his blue eyes dark again, but deep inside, he felt happy. He knew that tonight and every night after, there would be more adventures. After all, when the clock struck midnight, magic always returned. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like the video.